The first explosion tore through the southern district at exactly 3 in the afternoon. Nina Petrov had been teaching her class about Earth's oceans when the windows shattered inward. Glass flew everywhere. Children screamed. The building shook so hard that desks slid across the floor. Nina grabbed 2 students and pulled them under her desk. Through the broken windows, she could see the sky turning orange with fire. New Haven had been a peaceful colony for 30 years. Families lived here. Farmers grew food. Engineers built homes. Nobody expected war. Nobody prepared for death. The second explosion hit the northern residential area. Then another, and another. The attacks came from orbit, from ships that appeared without warning. Nina heard the emergency sirens too late. They always came too late. She pushed the children toward the back exit. Other teachers were doing the same. Everyone ran. The hallways filled with smoke. Nina counted heads. 12 students with her. She needed to get them to the shelters underground. But when they reached the street, there were no shelters left. Just craters. Just fire. Just bodies. Admiral Rebecca Stone stood in the command center on Earth, watching her screen go dark. New Haven stopped transmitting. So did Port Darwin. Then Settlers Rest. 7 colonies went silent within an hour. Her hands gripped the edge of the console. Her knuckles turned white. A young officer approached with a tablet. His face looked pale. "Admiral, we have confirmation. Dominion forces. They're broadcasting a message." Rebecca took the tablet. The message played. A crystalline being filled the screen. Its voice came through translators, cold and efficient. Human settlements have been engaged in preemptive peacekeeping operations. Unauthorized resource extraction has been terminated. Stand down all military vessels. Further resistance will result in complete pacification. Rebecca threw the tablet across the room. It shattered against the wall. Pacification. They called genocide pacification. She pulled up the casualty estimates. Over 2 million dead. 2 million civilians who never fired shot. Children, teachers, farmers, all dead because humanity found rare metals on their own worlds. Owen Walsh received the casualty reports in his office. As director of colonial defense, he had spent 20 years preparing for threats. But not this. Never this. The Dominion Collective controlled most of the galaxy. 12 species working together. Humanity had always stayed small, stayed quiet, stayed out of their way. It never mattered that he read through the intelligence files. The Dominion wanted the rare element deposits. They planned this for months. The attacks were coordinated, precise, meant to kill as many people as possible before humanity could respond. Owen pressed his hands against his face. His grandson lived on New Haven. Lived. Past tense now. The boy was 8 years old. He liked drawing pictures of spaceships. Doctor Nina Petrov and her 12 students hid in a collapsed building. She could hear ships overhead. Dominion forces landing. Taking control. She wrapped her arms around the children and told them to stay quiet. They were so quiet. Too quiet. Some of them had stopped crying. That scared her more than the explosions. Children should cry. When they stop, something inside them breaks. A rescue team found them 3 days later. Human soldiers with weapons and medical supplies. They evacuated survivors to transport ships. Nina counted her students again. 12 got out. Her class had 38. She would remember every name, every face. The ship lifted off from New Haven's burning surface. Nina looked down at her home. Nothing remained but smoke and ash. Ambassador Harrison Ford arrived at Dominion Central Station 2 weeks later. The massive structure floated in neutral space, home to the Galactic Council. Representatives from hundreds of species worked here, made laws here, decided the fate of worlds here. Harrison had been a diplomat for 15 years. He knew how to smile, how to negotiate, how to find common ground. Today he brought evidence of war crimes. Today he would demand justice. The council chamber was enormous. Seats rose in circular tiers around a central platform. Harrison stood on that platform. Above him, council members looked down. Some appeared interested. Most looked bored. They had already decided. He could see it in their faces. Harrison activated his presentation. Footage from New Haven played on every screen. Buildings exploding. People running. Children dying. The chamber went silent. Supreme Chancellor Reth spoke first. The crystalline being's voice echoed through the room. Ambassador Ford, the Dominion regrets the loss of life. However, human colonies were operating illegal mining operations. Resources belong to the Galactic Collective. Your species was warned. Harrison felt his jaw tighten. Warned? When? We received no communication. No negotiation. Just death. 2 million people. Gone. You call that warning. Reth shifted in its seat. Light reflected off its crystalline surface. The Dominion Council has reviewed this matter. We're prepared to offer generous peace terms. Humanity may retain 12 colony worlds. All others will be transferred to Dominion control. Reparations will be provided. Mining rights will be shared. This offer demonstrates our commitment to peace. Harrison looked around the chamber. Other council members nodded in agreement. Some species whispered to each other. They thought this was fair. They thought humanity should be grateful. He pulled up another file, showed more footage, showed the hospitals burning, showed evacuation ships exploding in orbit, showed what generous peace looked like. Your reparations offer is 0.01% of actual damages. You admit no wrongdoing. You keep the resources. We keep our dead. Harrison paused. And you expect us to accept this? Reth stood taller. Ambassador, the Dominion Collective commands 50,000 warships. Humanity possesses fewer than 300. Be reasonable. Accept peace. The alternative is extinction. Harrison looked at every council member, memorized their faces, their species, their worlds. Then he spoke clearly so everyone could hear. You mistake our patience for weakness. You believe small numbers mean small will. You think we should bow because you have more ships. He gathered his files. You will learn the difference between patience and weakness. Humanity rejects your terms. The chamber erupted. Council members shouted. Some laughed. Some looked confused. Reth's crystalline body flashed with colors that meant anger. Ambassador Ford, if you walk out of this chamber, the Dominion will begin final pacification operations. Your species will cease to exist. Harrison walked toward the exit. At the door, he turned back. Then you better bring all 50,000 ships. You're going to need them. The door closed behind him. The Galactic Council sat in stunned silence. Then they began to laugh. Humans choosing extinction over surrender. Foolish. Suicidal. Entertaining. They had no idea what they had awakened. No idea what happens when you take everything from someone. No idea that humanity had nothing left to lose. And it made them the most dangerous species in the galaxy. 6 months changed everything. Earth transformed into something the galaxy had never seen. Every factory, every shipyard, every research facility, all working for one purpose: survival. Owen Walsh stood in what used to be his grandson's school. Now it produced ammunition. The playground had become a loading dock. The gymnasium stored weapons. Children's drawings still covered some walls. They stayed there. Reminders of why everyone worked 20-hour days. Production numbers scrolled across Owen's tablet. Impressive. Terrifying. Humanity had built more weapons in 6 months than in the previous 50 years. But it would not be enough. Not against 50,000 ships. Unless they fought different. Unless they stopped playing by rules the Dominion wrote. Rebecca Stone walked through the new training facility carved into Luna's surface. Soldiers practiced in zero gravity, learning to fight in vacuum, learning to board enemy ships, learning to make every shot count because there would be no second chances. These were not soldiers trained for glory. They trained for survival, for revenge, for making the Dominion regret ever hearing the word human. A young pilot approached. Her name was Lisa, 17 years old. Her entire family died on New Haven. She volunteered the day after. Rebecca wanted to send her home, tell her she was too young. But Earth needed every pilot, every soldier, every person willing to fight. Lisa could fly better than officers twice her age. Anger made her sharp, made her fearless, made her exactly what humanity needed. Admiral, permission to speak freely? Rebecca nodded. Always. Are we really going to win this? Everyone says the math doesn't work. They have too many ships, too many soldiers. Rebecca looked at the young pilot, saw her grandson's face, saw every child who died. Lisa, they think war is about numbers, about who has more ships, more guns. They're wrong. War is about will, about who wants it more, about who's willing to pay any price. She put her hand on Lisa's shoulder. They wanted our resources. We want our debt avenged. Which do you think matters more? Lisa smiled. It was not a happy smile. Understood, Admiral. I'll make every shot count. Dr. Nina Petrov worked in a laboratory deep underground. Her team studied Dominion biology, physiology, weaknesses. She had been a xenobiologist, studied alien life to understand it, appreciate it. Now she studied alien life to kill it efficiently. The transformation disturbed her, but not enough to stop. Every time her hands hesitated, she remembered her students, remembered their faces. Then her hands steadied. The Dominion species breathed different atmospheres, tolerated different temperatures, evolved on different worlds. Each had weaknesses, pressure points, vulnerabilities. Nina cataloged them all, created weapons specific to each species. Chemical agents that targeted crystalline beings like Reth. Sonic frequencies that disrupted another species' nervous systems. Biological weapons that humanity would never have considered using before. Before New Haven, before everything changed, her assistant brought coffee. It had gone cold hours ago. Nina drank it anyway. Sleep came rarely now. Dreams came worse. She saw her students every night, heard them calling for help, woke up trying to save them. But work helped. Work gave purpose. Work meant their deaths would not be meaningless. Harrison Ford coordinated with resistance fighters across occupied human worlds. The Dominion controlled those colonies now, took them over after New Haven. The official story said humanity abandoned them. The truth was different. Humanity left soldiers behind, civilians who refused to evacuate, people who knew the terrain, who could blend in, who could wait. The Dominion thought they conquered those worlds. They occupied them. Conquest would come later. Messages came through encrypted channels. Resistance cells reporting Dominion supply routes, troop movements, weaknesses in their occupation. Harrison compiled everything, sent it to Rebecca. Every piece of information became ammunition. The Dominion had 50,000 ships, but those ships needed fuel, needed supplies, needed maintenance. Cut those lines and numbers meant nothing. One message caught his attention. A resistance fighter on Port Darwin. They identified the location of Dominion Fuel Depot. Coordinates, security details, guard rotations. Harrison smiled for the first time in months. The Dominion thought humans were beaten, broken, waiting for extinction. They would learn patience is not surrender. Silence is not defeat. Sometimes the quiet ones are just planning. Owen Walsh met with Earth's political leaders in a bunker beneath Geneva. They argued about strategy, about ethics, about what humanity should become. One senator stood up. Her name was Grace. She opposed military action, believed in peaceful resolution. She had opposed it for 6 months. Now she spoke again. Director Walsh, we're becoming the very thing we fight against. Building weapons of mass destruction, planning civilian terror campaigns, abandoning our principles. Is this who we want to be? Owen looked at her, thought about his grandson, about 2 million dead, about what principles meant when your species faced extinction. Senator Grace, I understand your concern. I share it, but they didn't give us a choice. The Dominion doesn't negotiate with the weak. They exterminate them. We can die as principled victims or live as ruthless survivors. I choose survival. The room went quiet. Grace sat down. No one else objected. Principles were luxury items. Earth could not afford luxury anymore. Rebecca received confirmation that all fleets were ready. 300 human ships, modified, upgraded, armed with weapons the galaxy had never seen, crewed by people with nothing to lose. She sent final orders. Every captain knew their role. Every pilot understood the mission. No one expected to survive. Everyone volunteered anyway. The Dominion First Armada was gathering near Jupiter. 12,000 ships preparing to end humanity. They broadcasted their intentions across all channels. Wanted Earth to see them coming. Wanted humanity to feel fear. Wanted surrender. They would get none of those things. Rebecca stood before her crew. Young faces, old faces, all determined. They think we'll run. They think we'll beg. They think we're beaten. She paused. They're right about one thing. We are beaten, broken, destroyed. They took everything from us. Our homes, our families, our future. Another pause. But they made one mistake. They left us alive long enough to remember, to grieve, to get angry. And angry humans are the most dangerous thing in this galaxy. The crew cheered, not from joy, from rage, from pain, from determination to make the Dominion understand what they had unleashed. Nina delivered her final weapon designs. Chemical agents, biological weapons, sonic disruptors, all banned by galactic law, all ready for deployment. Rebecca signed off on everything. Laws meant nothing to the dead. Justice mattered more than rules. Harrison sent final messages to resistance cells. Sleeper agents, saboteurs, everyone activated, everyone ready. The Dominion thought they controlled human worlds. They would learn control is an illusion. Territory is temporary. Resistance is eternal. The night before battle, Rebecca visited the memorial on Luna. Names covered the wall. 2 million names. She found her grandsons. Touched the letters. I'm sorry we failed you. Sorry we didn't protect you. But I promise you this. They will remember. They will understand. They will fear what they created. Across human space, similar scenes played out. Families saying goodbye. Soldiers checking weapons. Engineers making final adjustments. Everyone preparing for war. Not glorious war. Not honorable war. Desperatva. Total war. The kind of war that changes everything. The Dominion First Armada moved toward Earth. Confident, powerful, unstoppable. They expected quick victory. Expected humans to scatter. Expected extinction. They expected wrong. The asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter looked empty. Dominion sensors swept through the debris field. Found nothing. Commander Velk of the Dominion First Armada studied his displays. His species evolved on a high-gravity world. They were strong, confident. They had conquered 20 systems. Humanity would be 21. All ships proceed in formation. Maintain spacing. Earth orbit in 6 hours. 12,000 ships moved forward. The largest military force ever assembled. Each vessel carried enough firepower to destroy cities. Together, they could crack planets. Velk had fought in dozens of campaigns. This would be the easiest. Humans had 300 ships, outdated vessels, primitive weapons. The battle would end before it began. Behind him, his communication officer shifted nervously. Commander, I'm detecting unusual readings in the asteroid field. Velk glanced at the screen. Probably solar radiation. Maybe old human mining equipment. Nothing that mattered. Ignore it. Stay on course. The first explosion came from inside the formation. Not outside. Inside. A Dominion cruiser simply vanished in a ball of fire. Then another. Then 10 more. Velk stared at his displays. What was happening? Where were the attacks coming from? Rebecca Stone watched from her hidden position inside a hollowed asteroid. Around her, 300 human ships waited in silence. They had spent weeks preparing, carving out hiding spots, installing stealth systems, waiting. The Dominion formation was perfect for parades, terrible for combat. Ships packed close together, easy targets. All vessels, execute attack pattern Omega. Make them count. Human ships erupted from the asteroid field, not in formation, not in organized waves, like sharks attacking from every direction. They did not target the Dominion ships' weapons. They targeted life support, engines, command centers, places where crew lived, places where aliens breathed, places where death came slow. Lisa piloted her fighter through the chaos. Her target was a Dominion carrier. Massive vessel, hundreds of crew. She did not attack the hull. Too thick. Instead, she targeted the docking bay. Fired missiles inside. Let the explosions tear the ship apart from within. The carrier broke in half. Atmosphere vented. Bodies spilled into space. Lisa felt nothing. No guilt, no satisfaction, just cold focus. Velk tried to reorganize his fleet. Impossible. Human ships were too fast, too unpredictable. They struck and vanished, appeared somewhere else, struck again. His species valued honor in combat. Face your enemy. Fight with strength. Humans fought with deception, cruelty, terror. They were supposed to be civilized. Where was civilization in this? All ships returned fire. Target everything. Dominion vessels fired in every direction. Hit each other as often as humans. The tight formation became a trap. Ships collided, trying to maneuver. Explosions triggered chain reactions. Velk's perfect armada collapsed into chaos within 20 minutes. How? How are humans doing this? Nina's weapons arrived in small packages. Boarding pods. They looked like debris. Dominion ships ignored them until they attached to hulls. Cut through. Released chemical agents inside. The crystalline species started dissolving. The high-gravity species found their bones breaking under their own weight. The aquatic species choked as their breathing fluids turned toxic. Each weapon designed specifically. Each death personalized that a Dominion destroyer tried to retreat. Human ships pursued, not to destroy, to capture. The destroyer's crew surrendered quickly. They expected prisoner treatment, expected galactic conventions. Rebecca's soldiers boarded the ship. They brought cameras, broadcast what came next across every Dominion frequency. The prisoners watched footage from New Haven, saw the children dying, saw the hospitals burning. Then the human soldiers asked one question. Did you vote for this war? Some prisoners said no. They were released. Most said yes. They expected death. They got worse. They got to live. Got to go home. Got to tell everyone what happens when you fight humans. Got to spread fear. Owen watched the battle from Earth. The numbers looked bad. Humanity lost 50 ships in the first hour, but the Dominion lost 3,000. The math finally worked. Not because humans had better ships, because humans had better reasons. Each destroyed vessel cost humanity trained crews, friends, families. Each loss hurt, but each loss made the survivors fight harder. Velk abandoned his command ship, transferred to a backup vessel, tried to establish new command structure. His communication channels filled with screams. Officers begging for help. Ships reporting breaches. Biological attacks. Crews dying in horrible ways. This was not war. This was extermination. Velk sent emergency signals to Dominion High Command. Requested reinforcements. Requested support. Requested permission to retreat. Permission denied. Supreme Chancellor Reth's response came through clearly. Commander Velk, you command 12,000 ships against 300 human vessels. Victory is mandatory. Failure is treason. Destroy them. Velk looked at his remaining forces. 8,000 ships. Still overwhelming. Still powerful. But his crews were terrified. They did not fear death. They feared what came before death. They feared human boarding parties. Human chemical weapons. Human ruthlessness. Fear spread faster than fire. Rebecca ordered the second wave. 50 ships emerged from deeper in the asteroid belt. These carried different weapons. Electronic warfare systems. They hacked Dominion communications. Started broadcasting on enemy frequencies. Playing audio from New Haven. Children crying. People screaming. Buildings collapsing. Every Dominion crew heard it. Understood what their leaders ordered. Understood what they participated in. Some ships stopped fighting. Just stopped. Crews refused orders. Weapons went silent. Velk watched his armada fall apart. Not from human weapons. From human psychology. They made his soldiers think. Made them question. Made them understand. War was easy when enemies were abstract. Hard when enemies made you remember they were people. That their children died. That your orders killed civilians. Velk felt something unfamiliar. Shame that Harrison's resistance cells activated across occupied worlds. Dominion fuel depots exploded. Supply convoys vanished. Communication arrays went dark. The occupation forces called for help. No help came. The fleet near Earth was dying. The Dominion could not save colonies and their armada. They chose the armada. The colonies were on their own. Lisa's fighter took damage. Engine failing. Life support compromised. She aimed for a Dominion battleship. If she was dying, she was taking enemies with her. But Rebecca's voice came through her radio. Pilot Lisa, return to base. That's an order. Admiral, my ship is done. Might as well make it count. Negative. We need pilots more than martyrs. Eject. We'll retrieve you. Lisa argued. But orders were orders. She ejected. Watch her fighter drift into the battleship anyway. Watch the explosion. Even broken human ships kept fighting. The battle lasted 6 hours. When it ended, Velt commanded 2,000 ships. 10,000 were destroyed or disabled. He looked at his displays, saw human forces regrouping, saw them preparing for round 2. His crews were broken. Supplies were low. Victory was impossible. He did the thing Dominion commanders never do. He retreated, ordered all surviving ships to fall back. Run. Survive. Rebecca let them go. Did not pursue. Her forces were exhausted, damaged, but they won. Proved everyone wrong. Proved humans could fight, could win, could make the Dominion bleed. Owen received the casualty reports. 200 human ships destroyed. 30,000 personnel dead. The price was high, but they broke the Dominion First Armada. Broke their confidence. Broke their certainty. The galaxy watched. The galaxy learned. Humans were not victims anymore. 3 months passed. The Dominion tried to hide their defeat. Called it a tactical withdrawal. Called it strategic repositioning. But species across the galaxy heard the truth. 12,000 ships entered human space. 2,000 limped back. The survivors talked, shared stories, described weapons they never imagined, deaths they never expected. They warned everyone. Humans fight different. Supreme Chancellor Reth convened an emergency council session. The crystalline being's colors shifted between red and black. Anger and fear. The defeat embarrassed the Dominion, made them look weak. Other species watched, wondered if the Dominion was truly unbeatable. Reth could not allow doubt, could not permit questions. The human situation must be resolved. Permanently. Council members agreed, but no one volunteered their fleets. No one offered ships. Everyone remembered Velt's reports, remembered the footage, remembered that humans did not fight honorably. They fought to win. That made them unpredictable, dangerous, terrifying. Rebecca Stone stood before her rebuilt fleet. 90 ships survived the asteroid belt. Shipyards worked day and night building more. Earth produced vessels faster than ever, but they were not enough. Not yet. Humanity needed to press the advantage. Strike while the Dominion was vulnerable. Show the galaxy that humans were not defensive. They were aggressive. All captains, listen carefully. We're taking the fight to them. No more waiting. No more defending. We're going hunting. The fleet launched toward Dominion space. Not toward military targets. Toward homeworlds. Toward the planets that voted for New Haven's destruction. Rebecca was not planning conquest. She was planning education. The Dominion needed to learn what war actually meant. What happens when you bring death to someone's home? They were about to get a masterclass. Nina traveled with the fleet. Her laboratory was now a mobile research facility aboard Rebecca's flagship. She continued developing new weapons. More refined, more targeted, more cruel. Each design made her feel less human. More monster. But monsters were winning this war. Saints died on New Haven. The first target was a planet called Torvin. Industrial world. They built Dominion warships. Their population voted overwhelmingly for human extermination. Celebrated New Haven's destruction. Now, they would understand celebration comes with consequences. Human ships entered orbit. Dominion defense forces scrambled. Too slow. Too disorganized. Rebecca's fleet destroyed military installations with precision. Orbital weapons. Defense platforms. Army bases. Everything with soldiers. Everything with weapons. Then they stopped. Did not touch civilian targets. Did not bomb cities. Did not kill families. Instead, Rebecca broadcasted a message to the planet. Every screen, every radio, every communication device on Torvin received her words. People of Torvin, your leaders ordered the death of 2 million humans. You voted for those leaders. You built the ships that killed our children. You celebrated their deaths. She paused. But we are not like you. We will not kill your families. We will not destroy your homes. We will show you what mercy looks like. Real mercy, not the kind your leaders promised us. Torben's population watched human ships in orbit, watched them leave without firing on cities. Confusion spread. Fear remained. They expected extinction, expected bombardment, expected what they did to humans. They received something worse. They received guilt. Owen coordinated the campaign from Earth. Multiple fleets striking multiple worlds. Each attack the same. Destroy military. Spare civilians. Broadcast the message. Show Dominion populations that their leaders lied. That humans were not monsters. The humans showed restraint their own leaders never considered. The strategy was brilliant. Made Dominion citizens question their government. Question the war. Question everything. But not every world surrendered peacefully. On planet Corvus, local forces fought back. Ground combat began. Human soldiers landed. Faced Dominion troops in urban warfare. This was different from space battles. This was personal, close, brutal. Both sides took heavy casualties that Lisa's fighter provided air support. She watched soldiers die below, saw human marines falling, saw alien defenders fighting desperately. War looked different from the ground. Less clean, more real. She wondered if the Dominion soldiers below had families. If they voted for the war. If they deserved death or pity. Then she remembered her family on New Haven. The wondering stopped. She fired. Harrison worked with captured Dominion officers, interviewed them, recorded their testimonies. Many admitted they opposed the war, claimed they were following orders. Some genuinely regretted New Haven. Others showed no remorse. Harrison documented everything. Planned to use it later. Vackheim's trials. Justice. Evidence that some Dominion members were victims too. Others were war criminals. But the most interesting interviews came from Supreme Chancellor Reth's own species. The crystalline beings who ordered everything. They felt no guilt, no shame. They believed smaller species existed to serve greater ones. Humans were small, weak. Resources mattered more than human lives. Harrison recorded these interviews carefully. The galaxy needed to hear this, needed to understand who really started the war. Reth watched human fleets spread across Dominion space. Each attack was strategic, each victory embarrassing. The other Council species began making separate peace overtures to Earth, trying to distance themselves from Reth's decisions. The Dominion collective was fracturing. Alliance was breaking. Reth called them traitors, called them cowards. But they remembered Velk's fleet, remembered 12,000 ships destroyed. They wanted survival more than loyalty. Rebecca received a priority message, encrypted, from inside Dominion territory. A group of species wanted to defect, wanted to join humanity, wanted protection from Reth's retaliation. She brought it to Owen. He consulted Harrison. They agreed. Accepting defectors would split the Dominion faster, make them turn on each other, win without fighting. Tell them yes. Anyone who abandons the Dominion can join us. But they have to prove sincerity. Release all human prisoners. Share all intelligence. Help rebuild what they destroyed. The defections began. First one species, then another, then 5 more. The Dominion collective collapsed from within. Reth ordered military action against defectors, called them enemies. But Dominion forces were scattered, demoralized, afraid. They ignored orders, preserved themselves. Nina watched the political collapse with satisfaction. Violence won battles. Psychology won wars. Humanity was proving that power came from will, not numbers. From strategy, not strength. From making enemies defeat themselves. On Earth, memorials were being built. Names carved in stone. 2 million names. But next to them, new stones were being prepared. For the 30,000 who died in battle. For those who gave everything. Nina visited regularly. Brought flowers. Talked to the dead. Told them victory was coming. Told them revenge was close. Told them their deaths mattered. Lisa landed her fighter after another successful mission. 50 sorties now. No losses. She was becoming a legend. Other pilots called her lucky. She hated the nickname. Nothing about war was lucky. Nothing about survival while friends died was fortunate. She just flew better when angry. And anger never stopped. Rebecca received reports from all fronts. 20 Dominion worlds under human control. 15 more negotiating surrender. 8 species formally defected. The war was turning. Not through overwhelming force. Through overwhelming fear. The Dominion created humanity's reputation. Now, they suffered from it. But Reth was not finished. The crystalline being retreated to the Dominion core worlds. Gathered loyalist forces. Prepared for final confrontation. Sent a message to all remaining allies. The humans must be stopped. If we fall, the entire galactic order falls. Rally to the homeworld. Bring every ship, every soldier, everything. We end this now. Owen received intelligence about Reth's gathering. The final battle was coming. Everything would be decided soon. He sent word to Rebecca, to Nina, to Harrison, to every human commander. The war was about to reach its conclusion. One way or another, it would end at the Dominion homeworld. Rebecca addressed her fleet one final time before the jump to Dominion space. They started this war to take our resources. We're finishing it to take their certainty. They were certain of their power, certain of their superiority, certain we would surrender. We've destroyed every certainty. Now we destroy their last hope. Now we show the galaxy what happens when you awaken sleeping predators. The fleet jumped to hyperspace. Destination, the heart of Dominion territory. The final lesson was about to begin. The Dominion homeworld appeared beautiful from orbit. Crystal spires reached towards space. Cities glowed with bioluminescent architecture. Gardens covered entire continents. This was where Reth's species evolved, where they built their empire, where they decided humanity should die. Now humanity arrived at their doorstep with guns loaded and patience exhausted, but Rebecca's fleet numbered 500 ships, smaller than the Dominion's defending forces. But numbers stopped mattering months ago. What mattered was determination. What mattered was that every human crew remembered New Haven, remembered why they came, remembered what they were owed. All ships maintained position. Estabilize orbital superiority. Prepare for ground operations. Reth watched from the Planetary Defense Center. 6,000 ships surrounded the homeworld. Orbital platforms covered the sky. Ground batteries tracked every human vessel. This was the Dominion's strongest fortress. Their last stand. They would not retreat again. Could not retreat. Nowhere left to run. All forces engage the humans. Show them what defending your home truly means. The battle began differently than before. Dominion forces fought with desperation now, with fear, with understanding that losing meant the end. They coordinated better, anticipated human tactics, used the same tricks humans employed. They learned, adapted, became dangerous again. Lisa's squadron took heavy fire. 3 fighters destroyed in the first wave. She watched friends die, watched ships explode, felt her anger grow cold. Not hot rage anymore. Cold calculation. She redirected her squadron, found weakness in Dominion formation, exploited it, broke through, reached the orbital platforms. All fighters target the platforms. Make holes for the fleet. Missile flew. Lasers cut. Explosions bloomed across the defense network. But the Dominion kept fighting, kept replacing destroyed platforms with reserve forces. This would not be like other battles. This would cost everything. Nina's laboratory shook as the flagship took hits. She steadied herself, continued working. Her latest weapon was ready. Biological agent specific to Reth's crystalline species. It would dissolve their molecular bonds, turn them to dust. Effective, horrible, necessary. She loaded it into deployment systems. Sent it to Rebecca. Admiral, the final weapon is ready. Targets their species specifically. 98% effective. No collateral damage to other species. Rebecca looked at the weapon specifications. This would end the war. Kill every crystalline being on the planet. Millions dead. Not soldiers. Civilians. Children. Families. Just like New Haven. She could win with one button. One decision. One moment of being exactly like Reth. Dr. Petrov, hold that weapon. Do not deploy without my direct order. Nina felt relief. She designed it. She could use it, but she did not want to. Winning like Reth meant becoming Reth. Some lines should not be crossed, even in war, even after New Haven, especially after New Haven. Humanity had to be better, had to prove they were different. Otherwise, what was the point? Owen received updates from the battle. Casualties mounting, victory uncertain. The Dominion was fighting with everything, using tactics they learned from humans, turning humanity's own strategies against them. This was the test. Could humans win when enemies adapted? When being clever was not enough? When both sides fought with equal desperation? Harrison worked on another front. Political warfare. He contacted species still allied with Reth, showed them footage of the battle, showed them human restraint, showed them that humanity could have deployed biological weapons, could have killed civilians, could have done everything the Dominion did, but chose not to. The message spread. More species wavered. More defections came. Reth felt the alliance crumbling, felt support vanishing, sent desperate messages to remaining allies. Stand firm. The humans are weak. They hesitate. We can still win. We must win. If we fall, you fall next. But fear is stronger than loyalty. Species saw humans winning without becoming monsters, saw them showing restraint, saw them offering better terms than the Dominion ever did. One by one, Reth's allies withdrew, pulled back their ships, left the Dominion to fight alone. Rebecca watched the enemy forces thin, saw allied ships leaving, saw Reth's support collapse. But the crystalline being kept fighting, kept ordering attacks, kept refusing surrender. Pride, arrogance, stupidity. All three prevented peace. All three demanded final confrontation. All ships, final push. Break through their lines. Land-ground forces. In this, human marines launched toward the surface. Thousands of soldiers in drop pods. They faced Dominion defenders in every city. Urban warfare. House to house. Building to building. Both sides bled. Both sides suffered. But humans had something Dominion defenders lacked. They had already lost everything. Nothing more to fear. Nothing left to lose. Lisa provided close air support for ground forces. Saw Marines fighting below. Saw them taking heavy fire. She diverted from her mission. Attacked Dominion positions directly. Saved human lives. Disobeyed orders. Did not care. Orders meant nothing when brothers and sisters were dying. Ground forces reached the defense center. Found Reth surrounded by loyal guards. The crystalline being stood tall, defiant, unrepentant. Rebecca led the assault team personally. She wanted to face Reth, wanted to look into whatever passed for eyes, wanted to make Reth understand. The guards fought, died, fell. Rebecca's team broke through, found Reth alone in the command chamber. The crystalline being's colors shifted rapidly. Confusion, fear, anger, all visible in the light patterns. You cannot win, human. Kill me, and thousands more will take my place. The Dominion is eternal. Rebecca lowered her weapon, looked at Reth, saw not a monster, just a leader who made terrible choices, who believed power justified anything, who never understood that strength without wisdom creates only enemies. Reth, the Dominion already fell. Your allies abandoned you. Your forces surrendered. You lost not because we were stronger, because you were wrong. Wrong about us. Wrong about power. Wrong about everything. Reth's colors turned dark blue. Sadness. I do not understand. We offered peace. We offered generous terms. Why continue fighting? Why destroy everything? Rebecca stepped closer. You offered peace after genocide. You expected gratitude for crumbs. You never understood that some things cannot be negotiated. Some crimes cannot be forgiven with words. 2 million people died. You called it peacekeeping. We call it murder. They were resources, numbers, unfortunate casualties. They were people, children, families. They had names, dreams, futures. You took everything from them, from us. Now you understand how that feels. Reth sagged, crystalline structure dimming. What happens now? Execution? Extermination? Will you kill my people like I killed yours? Rebecca thought about Nina's weapon, about the biological agent, about how easy it would be, how satisfying, how wrong. No, We're not you. We're better. You'll stand trial. Answer for your crimes. Face justice. Real justice. Not revenge. Not extermination. Justice. The thing you never gave us. Reth looked confused. Why spare me? Why show mercy? Because that's what makes us different. That's what makes us human. We remember our dead. We honor them. We get justice for them. But we don't become you to beat you. We win by being better. Owen received word of Reth's capture. The war was effectively over. Dominion forces surrendered across the galaxy. Species rejoiced, celebrated. But Owen felt no joy, only exhaustion, only sadness for all the death, all the destruction, all the things that could have been avoided if Reth had chosen differently. Nina destroyed her biological weapon, deleted the research, erased the formulas. No one should have that power. No one should make that choice. Some weapons were too terrible even for terrible wars. She would remember what she almost became. Would remember that monsters are made, not born. Would remember to stay human even when everything demanded otherwise. Harrison drafted surrender terms. They were harsh but fair. Reparations, territory, restrictions, everything the Dominion refused to give humanity. But not extermination, not genocide, not revenge disguised as justice. Terms that hurt but allowed survival. Terms that taught lessons without destroying futures. The galaxy watched, learned, understood. Humans were not weak, not victims, not prey. They were survivors, warriors, protectors of their own. They fought when necessary, showed mercy when possible, became exactly strong enough to defend themselves without becoming tyrants. The balance every species seeks. The line between defense and aggression. Humanity walked it perfectly. 1 year after New Haven burned, Rebecca stood in front of a wall covered in names. 2 million names, each carved carefully, each remembered. The memorial stretched across 10 acres. Families visited daily, brought flowers, told stories, made sure the dead were not just numbers, not statistics, not forgotten casualties. People. The war tribunals continued in Geneva. Reth faced charges, blasphemy, genocide, crimes against sentient species. The crystalline being showed no remorse, claimed everything was legal under Dominion law, that might made right, that resources justified any action. The judges disagreed. The verdict came quickly. Guilty. Sentence. Life imprisonment. No execution. No revenge. Justice. Other Dominion officials faced similar trials. Some showed genuine remorse, claimed they opposed the war, followed orders under threat. Those received lighter sentences. Others remained defiant, proud of their actions, believed humanity was the criminal. Those received harsher terms. Justice was not uniform, could not be. Some people deserved forgiveness. Others earned punishment. Owen worked on reconstruction. The 7 destroyed colonies needed rebuilding, but not as they were. Better, stronger, protected. New defense systems surrounded every human world. New treaties guaranteed assistance if attacked. Humanity would never be vulnerable again, never be easy prey, never trust that peace meant safety. His grandson's school on New Haven was the first building reconstructed. Same location, same design, different students. Owen attended the opening ceremony, watched children enter, heard them laugh, felt tears he did not know he still had. His grandson never got to grow up. These children would. That was the point. That was why everyone fought. So someone's grandchildren could have futures. Nina returned to xenobiology. Real research, understanding species, not killing them. She published papers on Dominion biology. Honest papers. Objective. Scientific. No weaponization. No exploitation. Just knowledge. Some colleagues called her a traitor. Said she should hate all aliens. She disagreed. Hating Reth species because of Reth was exactly what Reth did to humans. She refused to become what she fought. But nightmares came regularly. Dreams of the weapons she designed. The deaths she caused. The line she crossed. Therapy helped. Talking helped. Accepting that war changes everyone helped. She would never be who she was before New Haven. That person died with her students. The person she became was harder, sadder, stronger. Not better or worse, just different. War did that. Made everyone different. Harrison became humanity's chief diplomat. His job was preventing future wars, building alliances, creating frameworks for peaceful resolution. He negotiated with dozens of species, established communication protocols, mutual defense agreements, trade relationships, everything designed to make war unprofitable, unnecessary, unthinkable. Some species feared humanity now, saw them as dangerous, unpredictable, violent. Harrison did not try to change that perception. Fear prevented conflict. Respect prevented war. Let them fear human capability while respecting human restraint. That balance kept peace better than pure friendship ever could. Lisa left military service. Her war was over. She tried returning to normal life. Found it impossible. Everything felt wrong. Too peaceful. Too quiet. Too safe. She started teaching at flight school. Trained new pilots. Told them about real combat. Not glory. Not honor. Just survival. Just doing what needed doing. The students called her harsh. She did not care. Harsh teachers created survivors. Kind teachers created casualties. Some nights, she visited the memorial. Found her family's names. Talked to them. Told them about the war. About victory. About how humanity won. About how she survived when they did not. Guilt never left. Survivor's guilt. Common among veterans. Therapy helped. Time helped. Purpose helped. She taught because someone needed to, because the next generation needed to be ready, because New Haven taught one lesson clearly. Peace is temporary. Preparedness is permanent. Rebecca retired from military service. Too many ghosts. Too many decisions. Too many deaths on her orders. She wrote a book, honest book, about the war, about choices, about costs, about what victory really meant. Some called it treason. Said she made humanity look weak. She disagreed. Strength was admitting difficulty. Weakness was pretending war was glorious. Her book became required reading at military academies. Future commanders needed to understand what they were ordering, what they were costing, what they were becoming. The Dominion Collective dissolved officially. Each species became independent. Most joined new organizations. Democratic, representative, fair. The old system of might makes right was dead. New Haven killed it. Human resistance buried it. The new Galactic Order had rules, had accountability, had consequences for genocide. Humanity made sure of that. Reparations flowed to Earth for decades. Money, resources, technology. The former Dominion species paid what they owed. Some grudgingly, some genuinely apologetic. All aware that failure to pay meant human intervention. Nobody wanted human intervention. Once was enough. Human colonies rebuilt. New Haven rose from ash. Different but alive. Port Darwin reopened. Settlers' rest replanted. All 7 worlds came back. Better defended. Better prepared. Better connected to Earth. The colonies would never be isolated again. Never be sacrificed again. Never be considered acceptable losses. Galactic Council headquarters moved to neutral station near Earth. Humanity became permanent Security Council member. Not because they wanted power, because they earned respect, because they proved small species could defend themselves, could demand justice, could change everything. Other small species looked to Earth for leadership, for protection. For example, humanity accepted the responsibility carefully. New treaties established rules for warfare. No civilian targeting. No orbital bombardment of colonies. No genocide disguised as peacekeeping. Violators faced human enforcement. Some called it imperialism. Humanity called it prevention. They remembered what happens when powerful species face no consequences. They remembered New Haven. They remembered every name on that wall. Owen stood before the memorial on New Haven's anniversary. Thousands attended. Families, veterans, leaders from dozens of species. Everyone silent. Everyone remembering. Owen spoke briefly. We gather to remember, not to celebrate, not to glory in victory, to remember why we fought, who we lost, what we paid. War is not glorious. Victory is not sweet. Survival is not triumph. They are necessary, sometimes, but never good, never welcome, never wanted. He paused, looked at the names, found his grandsons. We won this war, but we lost this peace. 2 million people died because someone else wanted resources, wanted power, wanted control. We stopped them, but we cannot bring back the dead, cannot undo what happened, cannot pretend victory heals wounds. We can only remember, only honor, only make sure it never happens again. The crowd stayed silent, respectful, understanding. War created two types of people: those who learned, those who forgot. Humanity learned that peace requires strength, that strength requires wisdom, that wisdom requires remembering cost, remembering sacrifice, remembering that every name on the wall was a person, had a life, had a future, until someone decided resources mattered more. Rebecca watched from the crowd, saw Owen finish his speech, saw families mourning, saw veterans remembering, saw the next generation learning. This was why they fought, not for glory, not for conquest, not for power, for this, for memory, for justice, for making sure future generations understood the price, understood the cost, understood that war is failure, victory is survival, and survival is responsibility. Night fell on New Haven. Lights illuminated the memorial. 2 million names glowed. 2 million reminders. 2 million reasons. The galaxy watched. The galaxy learned. The galaxy remembered. Humanity did not start the war, but humanity finished it. Finished it properly. With justice. With mercy. With strength. With wisdom. And if anyone forgot, if any species considered testing humanity again, if any leader thought resources justified genocide, the memorial stood ready. 2 million names ready to remind them, ready to warn them, ready to show them what happens when you awaken sleeping predators. The Overlords looked on in fear, not because humanity was cruel, because humanity was capable, capable of total war, capable of absolute victory, capable of complete mercy. That combination terrified them more than any weapon, more than any fleet, more than anything, because it meant humanity could destroy them, but chose not to, could exterminate them. But chose justice, could become monsters, but chose to stay human. That choice, that restraint, that balance, that was what made humanity dangerous. Not their weapons, not their tactics, not their determination, their choice to be better, even when worse was easier, even when revenge was deserved, even when monsters surrounded them. That was humanity. That was the lesson. That was why the galaxy would never forget New Haven. Never forget the war. Never forget what happens when you propose peace after genocide. Humanity chose retribution, but humanity also chose mercy. That balance changed